since we're on this topic, let's talk a little bit about Tucker Carlson's diversity comment. And Brit Hume apparently is defending Tucker comments. These comments of Tucker Carlson's are from last week. And it's becoming, increasingly clear that Tucker Carlson has decided from a career perspective, this is the broadcaster version of what Mitch McConnell's doing, right? Like I realize like my time is finite and we're going to get every single hardcore judge we can get in there. Tucker Carlson is basically pedal to the metal. I'm going to see if I can clear this ravine. But here is his diversity comment. This is from, what was it, like last week, right? Okay, let's just listen to this first.
Precisely is diversity our strength? Since you've made this our new national motto, please be specific as you explain it. Can you think, for example, of other institutions such as, marriage or military units in which the less people have in common, the more cohesive they are?
Pause it. Okay. He's moving the goalpost just a little bit and changing what diversity is our strength is. But I think it's very easy to find in both of those examples, frankly, both marriage and the military, examples of where diversity is our strength. The Navajo code talkers, let's say in World War II. Were it not for them, the Germans would have been able to continue to break our codes and kept us from perhaps winning that war, which is apparently a big deal. We have what the Buffalo Soldiers don't necessarily love what they did.
It's still diversity as a strength.
But it's diversity as a strength. In marriages, what does diversity help marriage? Well, yes. I mean, people think that sometimes like people should complement each other in terms of skills and perspectives. And
certainly enriches your life, probably.
It certainly does. There's no, I don't know. Are you aware of data that people who are, let's say, in marriage of like mixed races or religions or are any more apt to get divorced than people who aren't? But let's continue here.
Cohesive they are. Do you get along better with your neighbors or your coworkers if you can't understand each other or share no common values? Please be honest.
Pause it. Now, wait a second. Now he's moving the goalposts even further. When people are talking about diversity, they're not saying, oh, we share no values. I want people in this who I share no values with, and I totally don't understand. That's not what whatever those people are, whoever those people are that he's talking about, no one's advocating that. But of course,
when I hear that, I think of the Nazis, and I don't want them around.
No, exactly.
Well, he's intentionally conflating different cultures with different values, right?
Of course.
Like, there's no way that we could possibly have the same values if you're from a different place.
Right. I got news for you. I don't think I share many values with Tucker Carlson. And because my values are patriotism and goodness, his must be non-patriotism and badness. But let's go to when that's basically his trick, right? Like, I'm going to set the terms of the debate, and then I'm going to keep defining them in the way that I want to. Here is Brit Hume responding to Tucker Carlson's take on America. Now, is Brit Hume, is he still there at Fox? He's sort of coming back, right? Wasn't he sort of like retired? He's like emeritus, but it feels like he wants to come back a little bit.
But he throws these sorts of jabs every now and then.
Here we go.
And I also would say, Tucker, in defense of what you've been saying about this question of how diversity is our strength, well, I think, that is repeated constantly to the point of where it's kind of a cliche, and there's a lot of cant about it. And I think you were entirely within your rights to take that on and ask for people to make the case. Make the case.
I think you should be allowed to ask questions.
I agree.
Not everyone does. Brit.
Yeah, right. Of course. There's Brit Hume trying desperately to get back onto Fox into the good graces, maybe. Maybe Brit Hume's trying to sort of reorient himself back to that white nationalism that Tucker has been. But he's just asking the question.
Yeah, can't a man even ask a leading question that points directly to white nationalism anymore?
Right.
What happened to the free exchange of ideas?
There you go.
Just going to ask questions about Building 7 over here.
Right, exactly.
Well, one area where diversity is our strength that he probably doesn't like is labor unions. For instance, there is a long tradition of radical workers coming here from Mexico and various parts of Central and South America. So
Europe, for that matter.
He wouldn't like that much, would he?
Here is Tucker Carlson. Now, there's a lot of things that I share in common with Tucker Carlson. We both put our pants on one leg at a time, or maybe 2 leg at a time, whatever. But Tucker Carlson shares some attributes with some white nationalists who, and a while back I talked about this on how on YouTube I found some sort of disturbing videos that sort of look like almost the makeup videos that my daughter would watch, like the makeup tips or craft tips and this and that. And it turned out, oh wait, no, she's sort of mixing in this sort of like girl talk with also white nationalism.
Yeah, it's like Teen Vogue for fascists.
Exactly.
Teen Vogue is getting really woke on the left, so they gotta fight fire with fire.
And so here is a mashup from Media Matters of some white nationalists, one of whom is Lana Lotkov. She was one of those people. Richard Spencer. And here is Tucker Carlson. Maybe I don't know how I just ended up talking just like a avowed white nationalist. What a coincidence.
Diversity is our strength, they screech, as if that settles the conversation by itself, like a magic talisman.
Diversity. We hear about it nonstop. It's the mainstream motto.
How precisely is diversity our strength? Since you've made this our new national motto, please be specific as you explain it. Can you think, for example, of other institutions, such as, marriage or military units, in which the less people have in common, the more cohesive they are? Do you get along better with your neighbors or your coworkers if you can't understand each other or share no common values?
The problem comes from people who are different in race, language, religion, ethnicity, trying to share the same territory.
Look at Great Britain, look at France, look at Sweden. They have massive terror, crime, and disorder problems and cultural assimilation problems for one reason. They imported a bunch of people from a part of the world that doesn't share their values.
Look at the history of multiracial nations. It's a history of conflict, it's a history of distrust, and it's ultimately a history of blood and tears.
Latin American countries are changing election outcomes here by forcing demographic change on this country at a rate that American voters consistently say they don't want.
It sounds to me like we got a problem with people who got here legally altering the landscape politically. I don't like it. Fuck you. Stop it.
And notice where this change is not happening. Any place our leaders live. They caused all of this with their reckless immigration policies, and yet their own neighborhoods are basically unchanged. They look like it's 1960. No demographic change at all in their zip codes. Our leaders are for diversity, just not where they live.
I find, frankly, the kind of hypocrisy expressed by these alleged champions of diversity to be quite contemptible. They themselves can live in a way to insulate themselves from the brute strangeness of people that don't speak English or whose religion and culture are drastically different from theirs.
Hazelton.
There you go, folks. Oh, the brute strangeness of being around someone who's speaking this bizarre language. No, Spanish.
Not to mention, one could say the same thing about Tucker Carlson, right? Like, he's for homogeneity, just not where he lives.
What do you mean?
He lives in New York.
Oh, well, who knows what part of New York
Oh, he lives in D.C.?
Does he?
Regardless.
There's Tucker Carlson. I think he's just demanding it. He's not necessarily encouraging it. He's not,
He just wants people to define the terms, and then he'll probably be okay with immigration.
He's just asking questions, Jamie. Just asking questions.
He's probably not trying to stem the changing demographics or anything like that.
Let's go to the phones. Calling from a 210 area.